Okay, it is 5 minutes past 3 p.m., and so we are going to officially begin. So officially, thank all of you for joining us for Anglo-American University's virtual open house featuring the School of Journalism, Communications, and Visual Arts Studies. As stated on the screen, all of you have been muted upon entry, and so we would like to ask if you have any questions to please ask using the Q&A tool. Before we begin speaking properly about the Journalism and Visual Arts Studies programs, we're going to give you a little bit of general information about Anglo-American University. My name is Rebecca. I work in the admissions office. I have been in contact with many of you, so it is nice to meet you. I would like to first tell you a few key facts. We are an international university. We currently have students from over 80 different countries. This means that no matter where you're from in the world, there is somebody here who is like you and had similar experiences, so we like to believe that it's a ready-made environment full of friends. We do have high-quality degrees with top professors and well-designed degrees. By this we mean many of our professors have experience working in the fields that they're teaching now, and additionally, we make sure that our degrees are functional for the workplace. We're less interested in your ability to quote vocabulary out of a book on a test, and more interested in your ability to be a successful alumni around the world. One way that we ensure this is by having interactive and applied learning. We enjoy active discussions, small classes of no more than 25 people, although it will typically be more like 10 to 15, and many student projects and external partnerships. We feel this is very important in today's world because we are a global community, and so we want all of our students to be able to work with people from many cultures around the world. In being a global community, we do offer a globally recognized degree. We have the WASC accreditation based out of the United States. It is an accreditation council seated in California. And we also have our EU accreditation, the Czech Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports. This means that our degrees can take you all over the world in just 3 years of study. Our learning environment is something we are particularly proud of here at AAU. As I mentioned, we do have small class sizes, and this allows us to give a very personal approach to each of our students. All of your professors will know your names, they'll know a little bit about you, they might have a friendly relationship with you. Additionally, you will know everyone in your classes and you will have had many classes with them before. This means should you get sick and miss a class, you have a lot of people to ask for notes, or if something happens and you need to speak with your professor, you know who he is and vice versa. Along with this, we also have our interactive learning, which means it's not just lecture-based. There are a lot of practical applications for the things that we are teaching you. And we do have international world-class faculty members who are ready to help you with anything you need. One thing we also offer to our students is AAU housing. Our AAU housing is located just 20 minutes from campus in a really cool neighborhood known as Holišovice. It is one tram ride away, and there are single or shared room options, so you can have a roommate, but you don't need to. There are shared kitchens, laundry facilities, Wi-Fi, cleaning of the rooms, reception, and security. You do not have to live in our housing, but we do recommend it because it's a great way to make friends, and additionally, you will need proof of housing for your visa paperwork, and so this is an easy way to ensure that you get that. One question we are often asked is the cost of living in Prague. In total, we find for meals, accommodation, public transportation, and entertainment, you will typically spend between $800 and $1,000 a month. This amount, however, is subject to change depending on the lifestyle that you are accustomed to. If you cook most of your meals at home and you enjoy going to friends' houses, then you'll probably spend a little bit less. If you like to eat out every night, you like to party every night to the early hours of the morning, and you like to go shopping all the time, you're looking at a little bit more money. But regardless, the medium is between $800 and $1,000. Housing is included in this, as I noticed. It's usually around $500 per month, but again, this is subject to change depending on what you're looking for. Now, our student visa does function as a part-time work visa as well, and we find that our students can usually make between $300 and $700 a month, depending on the work they have found. You can legally work up to 24 hours per week, and we do have a career center to help you. Now, if you don't need a student visa, no worries, you can still work. It works the same as it would normally for any EU citizens. So, after you hear this presentation, you're going to fall in love with the journalism program and its deans and be desperate to apply. So the way to do so is to choose your favorite program, journalism, communications, visual arts. Fill in the online application form and pay the application fee of 2,000 Czech crowns, and then submit all of your required documents. Conversely, you can also apply via Common App. The choice is yours. The required documents are fairly standard. We're going to need your transcripts, a personal statement, your passport, your resume, just things about you. If you do this on Common App, we will need you to later submit your transcripts directly to us again, but you can email if you have questions about that. And then we will schedule you for an interview with the dean. Ultimately, the dean of each program makes the final choice on whether or not they think a student will be a good fit for our school. We evaluate all students holistically, so if you had a bad semester or you're not so good at math, that doesn't automatically preclude you from our programs. You'll have an interview with the dean where they will decide if you are a motivated, self-possessed person who wants to work hard, be a dedicated part of our alumni, and make a success of yourself. And if they feel that you fit this bill, they will admit you. So that being said, I am pleased and honored to introduce to you the Dean and Assistant Dean of our Journalism, Media, and Visual Arts program. We have Alžběta Klátová, the Assistant Dean, and Tony Ozuna, the Dean. If one of you would like to take over.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Tony Ozuna, and I guess I'm supposed to get this going. Thank you, Rebecca, and you'll be able to help us with visuals. And I have an idea, and I don't know if I should do this now or briefly introduce myself. But there was not that I want you to go back to it now, but maybe after I introduce myself, when you had that picture of Old Town Square. I guess it's two clicks.
Yes, I can go back. This picture.
Yeah. So I guess we can keep it there. My background, I just want to try to give a little bit of a context, how I'm talking to students who are interested in two study programs, journalism and then visual arts studies. And at least for my academic background and then also professional background, there's a combination, and with other faculty, there is a link. And so I'll give you my background and then I'll connect it to this photograph. My own background is in politics, but for the graduate school work at University of California, Santa Barbara, I had a focus on media, radio broadcasting, media, national broadcasting in the United States, with an emphasis on regulations in this area, radio regulations especially. And then also I did a lot of work in studying Spanish language media, both print media and radio. This is basically, so within politics, just to be focused and consumed in media studies in this area. At the same time, while I was doing my graduate studies, I just happened to become very, very good friends with art students, and then also accordingly some professors, artists, and this other world opened up to me for the first time at university level studies. But I ended up working on with a lot of artists on installations, exhibitions, and in installing them from the bare roots to the opening and even being a model or performer sometimes in these exhibitions. And that was in Los Angeles and San Francisco and Santa Barbara. And even there were opportunities to do that in Europe later. So just for me, that was an interesting combination of studies, officially as a politics student, but consumed in media, and then as well, parallel life, starting to develop just activities on the artistic side. And then also I was a radio broadcaster working for the university radio stations, always at the BA level and at the MA level, and then even before that at community college, working for the college radio stations. In journalism specifically now, or connected to the study program that we have, I practice as a cultural journalist with many years as an art reviewer. and also a music writer, focus on jazz especially. And that's something that I've been doing for many years, and continues into this time. For the arts program, then after I had those initial experiences working with artists, as I said, then that led then to being, whether it's an art reviewer or writing longer essays for many years. I was a contributor to art magazines, various ones. And then I started to do work as a curator, really due to the encouragement of artists that I had the opportunity to meet, because I would be writing about them. So with that background, I'm managing now the BA program in journalism and in arts, and things work together. I'm just speaking to you as a collective students interested in either program, but you'll be taking some classes as well that have a connection. Now, Rebecca has kindly brought us back to this photograph, and you can take a look at it. It's Old Town Square. It's one section of Old Town Square. And that's about 5 minutes walk from the AAU campus. You cross the river and you walk up, oh, I forget the name of the street. It's not Kaprova.
It is Kaprova.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I thought you meant.
It's Karlova. You walk up Karlova, I guess, or Kaprova. And anyways, so you're standing right there, and there's a building that, okay, you see the Gothic church, and then just to the left of the Gothic church is another building with a kind of a sharp roof, that Gothic top. And you could imagine, I taught cultural journalism. I teach it every semester, but I taught cultural journalism last semester, and we went to this location, exactly standing, like looking at those buildings, for 3 occasions with this class. In that one building that's near the Gothic church, that's an exhibition, House of the Stone Bell, and still currently, I think it closes next week. There's an exhibition of a documentary photographer, world-class top photographer. His name is Antonin Kratochvil, and we spent the entire session there going over his work, because it's a huge building, and with 3 stories, and there's videos as well, documentaries about his work. He's worked for CNN, and it's a multimedia exhibition there. And so for journalism students, it was a great place to go with them. With art students, in that same building, there's a basement, and there's a fantastic contemporary video art exhibition, and I went to that with other students, and it's for the class with cultural journalism that they write about exhibitions that are happening in the city. And then also it's just an opportunity for them to explore what is happening culturally in Prague. Next to that building, it's called Kinsky Palace, and I think it's still up now. It's a major exhibition of the famous masterpiece, master painter Rembrandt. And there's always an exhibition of such like internationally known artists there. That building also houses an incredible Asian art collection, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean art. The Czechs have just a phenomenal collection, and it's housed in different buildings throughout Prague, owned by the National Gallery of Prague. Around the corner, if you go up that street, there's a contemporary art gallery that I also took the students to. It's called DSC, and we saw an exhibition of David Černý. He's one of the most popular and controversial and provocative Czech contemporary artists. And you probably don't know his name, and you may not know his work, but absolutely, after living a year in the city, even if you don't know anything about art, you'll know certain monumental pieces that he has around the city. And in that same gallery, we have one of our faculty who also has exhibitions in this gallery, DSC, and her name is Veronika Bromova. She's one of the main artists for our faculty of visual art studies. So that said, we can go back to where we should be. Yeah, I guess now to the next one. Now we'll start with journalism. What we have here prepared for you is how we are planning to grow the journalism program. It's BA, right now it's called BA in Journalism and Communications, but in our application for reaccreditation, which we hope to have confirmed in 2021, it's going to change to Journalism and Media Studies. And as a BA in Journalism and Media Studies, there are the 4 concentrations, and they're listed here: journalism, media and culture, film studies, and public relations and marketing. Currently, the program that we have as journalism and communications is mostly what is under journalism and media and culture. That's the block that that makes up the program for the most part as it is, and then with the concentrations, it'll extend to more opportunities in film studies, and then also more opportunities in public relations and marketing. Next. This would be the new concentration, and this is closest to the program that we have now, which really is, I want to say, like an old school approach to teaching journalism, still with that emphasis on writing skills, print media, even though print media doesn't really exist so much in actual print, but the fundamental skills for print media is still the backbone of the journalism program that we have. And students who want to develop their writing skills for careers in writing and in any other genres, but still with the fundamentals for reporting there, this is the concentration. Students are interested not as much in seeking out a career as a basic reporter. They want to go into travel writing. They want to go into fashion journalism. They want to go into sports writing and so forth. They want to go into cultural journalism, which again is the area that I ended up, really just enjoying to contribute as a journalist to magazines or newspapers in that one section. And you can see there then with us that the concentration then emphasizes the journalistic writing skills, also photo and video reporting skills, fundamental skills, and radio broadcasting. There's a couple of photos on this page. One of them shows students in the media lab. That's where they put together programs for the radio station, and that's also the room where students will huddle together to put together the publication linen wall. It's a workspace for the students. There's another student at the bottom with the red cap, and she's a former editor of the linen wall. And she was a really special student. Her name is Chow Nguyen. She came from Vietnam, and she during the time that she was a student, she was absolutely one of the best students that we had. And she still stays in Prague, and she works for a media company, I'm pretty sure. Okay, next. Media and culture concentration is closest to classes and has the closest overlap to classes that are also offered by School of Humanities. And the School of Journalism, or the journalism program that we have, developed out of the humanities program. And so from the beginning, there were some classes that had strong overlap. If you choose to do the concentration in media and culture, these students then have more of maybe seeking to do then master's work or PhD work in media studies, with that emphasis on theoretical studies. Okay, next. Film studies concentration is the newest one for us, and maybe still the one that still needs to be developed, or can I say, like, we need to invest much more into developing this one. But also I think that this one is potentially the one that's going to grow the biggest. I think that there's the possibility that this one can grow to become almost at the size of the visual art studies program as it is now. And it's an emphasis, even though it says generically film studies concentration, it is the emphasis on documentary film, and documentary film closely connected to media, and anyone who's working responsibly in documentary film needs to understand, and as far as I'm concerned, needs to be schooled in fundamentals of journalism, reporting, ethics, especially in order to be a reputable professional working in this. And the most opportunities, I should say, or there are many opportunities for students in this area. Prague is also very, very active city for filmmakers, feature film and documentary film. We're across the river from the film school, FAMU as well. We have collaboration with FAMU. So this is a concentration that obviously we have already seen the students are interested in, but on the other hand too, we still need to develop this the most, so that it's the kinks are all ironed out. At the end of studies for this concentration, students would do a short documentary to complement the thesis that they do. And public relations and marketing concentration is another one that we've added, and it's basically the closest, or clearly it's a cooperation with the School of Business Administration that has if not a concentration, it might even be a BA emphasis in, what is it, Rebecca? It's in marketing, or is it marketing and PR?
There's a couple. There's a marketing and communications, and then there's one that's related to people management and relations.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it's marketing and PR. And so this concentration would have the most classes of faculty outside of our school, and their faculty then teaching these other classes as School of Business Administration courses. It's also one that we expect to grow, and there are a lot of opportunities for the journalism students in these areas. And it's also one of the reasons why we finally decided to include this one. For many years, we were reluctant to have these classes as part of our journalism program, because we're quite old-fashioned about how we wanted to stick to it. I guess that's the only way I'll put it. Okay. So career prospects, I don't know if I need to go through these. Career prospects in media and in journalism are constantly evolving, perhaps more so than in any other major. I don't know if anyone wants to chime in, if Osbeta or Rebecca wants to chime in, but I think this could be the hardest major to really say 4 or 5 years before, like, this is what I want to do, and compared to what the market's going to look like later. On the other hand, media just grows and morphs into so many different ways and versions. As a student, it's, obviously it's just easy, it's so easy to consume yourself in the studies and never turn it off, and still have so much more to learn, and constantly develop both your skills and knowledge in this world for many years from now. Now moving on to BA in Visual Arts Studies. Right now, the program that we have is a combination of art history, then courses in art history and art theory, and then arts management, curatorial studies, and arts management. And then also there's a block of classes that are open, but students tend to just fill those with studio classes, and then developing their skills in new media or painting or etc. And there's those 3 blocks as it exists now. In the new program, we've maybe condensed that a bit, and students now have concentrations, one specifically in art history, one specifically in art studio practice, and specifically arts management curatorial studies, and then this new one, which complements or connects to the film studies in journalism. But for the art students, it would be not documentary film, but short video and sound art. And that's also just a massive world within contemporary art, something that took off since the 1960s. So we can go to the next one. Art history concentration. I don't know if I need to break this down, except just to emphasize that we do have to emphasize that because we're in Central Europe, East Central Europe, and Czech art history is unique, and that's an understatement. It has made tremendous contributions to European art history, but it's largely unknown except to Czechs, and that's because the Czechoslovakia was cut off from the West for at least 40 years. And people from the West who don't know very much about Czech art, when they come, and whether they're here for 6 days or 6 months or 6 years, they just, they're just the appreciation of so much work of the artists that come from this area over the centuries is just really more than commendable. And then the National Gallery of Prague has such an incredible collection, and not only of Czech art, but like I said, East Asian art, Oriental art, and so forth. And the combination of all the museums, all the galleries that are also close by to the school, that also obviously influences what we teach in the art history classes. So you could do an art history major in Ohio at not to state that you can't get a good art history major from Ohio, but just the fact that it's in Prague and with so much access to so many different museums that you can see as part of the class, I think it's clear that to see things firsthand in person, and then also from across so many centuries of art, is a great opportunity. Next, studio practice. The rose that's there, that's in the courtyard of the school, and that was a sculpture of a contemporary artist, Czech artist, who had that a couple of years ago. And in the courtyard, we do have a little garden area. There's a tree, and we do use that as a public exhibition space. It's called Art Space. And that's one of the ways that we bring together the art student community, art faculty community every semester. We try to have something new there. And then in the courtyard, the students also have their art studio, that the classes are also there, but it's from a different angle. Actually, at the moment, there's no sculpture there, and it's because of the COVID boycott, I guess we could say. It's just impossible to organize something. But for you as potential students to AAU, by the time that you get here, I promise that there will be something there. And we hope to fill it again in spring. The artistic skills that you can develop, as they're listed here: drawing, painting, sculpture, 3D art, new media, conceptual art. Of course, that's just the list generically. And we have it in this way because students come to the program with very different skills. some students can come to the program with already well-developed skills, and skills that are actually like good enough for them to get into, let's say, the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague. However, because the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague only admits 12 students per year, and they can have over 100 applicants, a lot of really good students just don't get into those programs. Our program can be an option for such a student to study in English instead and finish our program, or take advantage of at least like 1 year of study or 2 years of study in our program to help them develop their portfolio better than they originally did, and eventually to get into the Academy of Fine Arts, because on our faculty, we have people who also do presently teach at such other fine arts academies, or have taught, have even been head of the departments and so forth. And so at least students get into that community and help them develop. So we do have some students who enter our program with those higher skills and with that higher ambition. On the other hand, we also have students who don't have any skills at all, and they would like to develop them. And we are such an open program that we can allow that. In the Czech system, for instance, if you ever wanted to study in the Academy of Fine Arts, is basically a decision you would have had to make at the age of 10, and you study in all of these art preparatory courses from that age. And it's the same if you want to study music or you want to study theater, etc. And that's how European university studies can be organized, and particularly the Czech system, as we are an American studies program. There is that openness, obviously, but then also we understand that people reach decisions, like what do they want to do in their life. You also reach those decisions later in your life, not until you're 16, not until sometimes you're 20, not until sometimes you're 30 years old. And so that, if that can explain to you that there is going to be a difference in the level of skill and the level of age and background experience of students in the visual arts program. Okay, next. Arts management and curatorial studies. This is a popular one. It's currently we have 2, maybe 3 classes, 2 required classes and 3 classes that we run regularly, teaching students these skills, but there are also so many other aspects within this. It's an area that justifies having a concentration, and everyone who teaches within this concentration also works in the city at top art centers or galleries or whatever. So it's a nice way for the students to link into the contemporary art world and find a niche there, find something to do if they want to stay in Prague and still do that, or to take those skills to another place, but particularly any of the nearby cities that are even bigger, let's say art centers than Prague, but they are conveniently nearby. Berlin, which is probably the contemporary art capital of Europe, is very close to Prague to the north. And then to the south, there's Vienna, a little bit closer. But those are just art capitals. Okay. The film studies video art concentration. This one, similarly to what I wanted to, or I think I said then, for documentary film studies, this is the one that needs to be developed the most. And what can I say? We once we start to have students in these concentrations and And there's the demand to develop in whatever areas. That's how it's going to go. I should also say that we're doing this summer a new course with a film school. It's a film school it's a film school in South Bohemia in Písek, and we are going to allow the art students and the journalism students to take this class that it's a professional film school with studios, and the idea is to start this cooperation with them in this as a summer class, but then also slowly integrate their faculty with their facilities and our students and their students over the years, because this seems like the best way that AAU can provide students with the proper equipment, the professional equipment that they would expect if they went to a proper film school. Okay, next. Career prospects. So there's a list there. I think for the art students, even though there are a lot of opportunities, obviously, but still for an art student to sell the idea of being an art student to parents, that's still the hardest thing. I see it when I talk to prospective students, even to sometimes we have students in the program, and then getting pressure from parents to change it to business, change it to anything but that art degree. But the students have the strongest commitment. It's in their heart, it's in their head that they want to do the art studies program, and there are opportunities there, even though so many people say counterwise to that. That said, due to COVID, the cultural opportunities have been really tough recently. Okay, next. Maybe I can phase out also at any time. Osbeta, feel free to cut in if you want. What's just listed here, this is the Lenin Wall magazine that the students work on, Sound Breaks Radio, and Osbeta was a part of that.
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about it a little bit? But
if you want, sure.
It's been great. I like your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been part of the Sound Breaks Radio. It's attached to a class that students can take, and both visual arts students and journalism students take that class. And they have the opportunity, if they take the class, they have the opportunity to learn to work with the media equipment that we have in the media room that Tony talked about. And they can create their own podcasts, their own shows. So I feel like that's interesting for both of the majors, because both, it kind of overlaps, and it gives students the opportunity to kind of to try something that's been very popular. And we have even had some students who have started their very popular podcasts, like outside of AAU, with thanks to this class and thanks to this Sound Breaks Radio that we have. So yeah, I've enjoyed it, and the cooperation with the lecturer that leads the Sound Breaks Radio a lot. It's been great.
Sure, and if I can just add, so keep in mind that a class like this, it gives you the opportunity. Oftentimes students don't even just have the self-confidence that they would ever be able to do something like that. And it takes a part of the class just to break down, or just to build that self-confidence, and then realize that they have the skill, and then also they realize that they like it, and they have the knowledge in here or there, or they have also the the persistence to seek out the knowledge, and different classes give you the chance to develop very different skills, but then also gives you the chance to realize what you're good at, what you like working on, and then developing skills for there. And those are the areas that you want to work in the future anyways. What you're really interested in, what you're good at naturally, it also helps, and where the opportunities are.
Yeah, what I like about the AAU radio is also that if you take the class every week, the whole class hosts a radio show together during the class, and you can actually see that on the bottom picture. The guy with the headphones, that's Douglas Arianes. He's the lecturer of the radio class. He's also a popular host at one of the really cool Czech radios, Radio 1. And these are students that took the class, and so what I like about it is that you're not in it alone. You're not just creating your own show, but you're also kind of learning how to work together in a group to host a show, and everyone can contribute what they want to talk about, what songs they want to play. And yeah, I think it's really great because it's like the whole AU, I would say, because we always try to, or your lecturers will always know you, they will know your name, and you have that opportunity to share with others. And I think that there is a great sense of community at AU, and it shows in things like this. So that's what I like about the Sunbridge video.
When COVID broke out last year, Doug was hosting a special show. I guess he was going on actually every night at 6.
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity for people within AAU community just to call in and share their ideas, thoughts, feelings about how they were coping with things, and it was really helpful. It was great, like an example of how the radio station
and
community. Sorry.
And in fall they even had like a virtual party. They had like a virtual room with tables that they had the radio show there in that virtual party room, and that was accompanied by the live show that they did. So he always comes up with great things, with interesting things, with new stuff. So I think that's really cool.
Okay, so next.
And Tony, sorry, can I just, do you want to mention also the .art?
You can go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we have recently started a new cooperation with the .art school program, and thanks to that, we can help students create their own online portfolios. So basically, it works in a way that students have their own art domain. So that would be a simple website where they can post their pictures, their photographs, or articles that they want to share. And the name of the website would be their name.art. So that's a way for students to create their portfolio and share it with the world online. Basically, during your whole studies at AU, AU pays for this art domain that you can use, and you're free to adjust it to how you want to have it, what you want to put in it, or whatever. And it is for both visual art and journalism students. So this is a new cooperation that we are quite proud of. We're in the process of launching it and accessing it, making it accessible to students. So we hope that it's going to work great.
Okay.
Okay, so that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn my video on so that we can answer some of your questions in the Q&A. We already have a few, and it looks as though the first two are admissions questions, so I will take those and then we'll move on. If any of you have any questions about the presentation you just saw or anything to journalism or visual arts in general, please feel free to ask with the question and answer tool. The first one says, is it necessary when submitting documents to provide certificates of passing the external independent assessment, or is it enough to give the 11th grade certificate? I'd like to apologize first. I'm not sure what specific country the external independent assessment refers to. I can see it's all capitalized, so I think that must be just a national high school diploma. When you're in the admissions process, we understand that you most likely do not have your national diploma yet. So it's enough just to give us your transcripts up until this point. If your transcripts aren't completed yet, then we need you to ask your school to give you an incomplete transcript, and you can simply email it directly to us or put it into the application portal. It's up to you. Once you graduate, you'll give us your document. So if in this case you're asking, do you need to have the actual diploma? The answer is not when you're applying, but eventually, yes, you will need to provide that to us. I hope that helps, and if not, please clarify. I would appreciate it. Thank you. The next one is, even though I come from an English-speaking country, would I still need to provide proof? This is a tricky question, as there are some countries that are English-speaking countries that are considered sort of second circle. For example, India is a second circle country, meaning that, of course, they speak English because there was a British influence. However, it's not necessarily the national language. So if you are from like Australia or the UK or the United States or Canada, then no, you do not need to provide proof of English proficiency. If you go to a school that is accredited through an accreditation council based in one of those countries, you also do not need to provide proof of English. Likewise, if you have an IB diploma or if you have, British A levels or that kind of thing. Otherwise, you will have to provide it. So I hope that that answered your question as well. This question is, what are the resources for English speakers to learn the Czech language? We do actually offer 2 beginner Czech courses. However, beyond that, there are a lot of people in general in the city of Prague that will help you learn Czech. And since a lot of our students are Czech as well, you can sometimes do sort of language exchanges. So if you speak a different language that a Czech student is interested in learning, you can meet with them and kind of teach each other together. But it is worth noting, in the city of Prague specifically, if you do not have good Czech skills, you will still be able to get around. It's not something that you need to be really scared about. The basics will serve you just fine in the city of Prague specifically. This says, do you offer scholarships for Indian students? In general, we do not offer full scholarships, period. We offer what's known as a merit-based scholarship. Every single student has to pay for their first semester in full. It's roughly $3,500 US, although of course that number is subject to change depending on the conversion rate at any given time. It's 89,800 Czech crowns. Then at the end of your first semester, we will automatically evaluate your GPA. If you have a 3.9 or a 4.0, so straight A's, your next semester is completely free. From there, we have a scholarship fund that we issue to students for 50% off. So if you have a 3.89 or a 3.88, you'll most likely get 50% off. The next one, do I stand a chance to get a job in America? Absolutely. We do have the American accreditation, and the journalism program specifically does have a very high rate of students going back and getting jobs there. This one says, do you have an update on accreditation? I'm not entirely certain what you mean by this. There is a rumor going around that we lost our accreditation. This is not true. There is a rumor going around that we are currently under investigation. We aren't. This is not a thing. It's simply that in order to have both accreditations, you need to be able to get nostrified through the Czech system. In a nutshell, just very basically explained, what will happen is your high school transcripts will be laid aside Czech high school transcripts, and the council will decide whether or not your high school education is equivalent to a Czech high school education. If it is decided yes, it was, then you are automatically put through to notification, and then you have both accreditations. If they decide no, it was not equivalent, then you'll have to take a test, a history test, for example. But the questions are provided in advance, and you have the legal right to a translator. We have had some students take these exams already. They're not a big deal. So we're fully accredited still, no problem. With the specific journalism accreditation, Tony or Elżbieta, would you like to speak about being reaccredited?
Yeah, I'll just point out that the journalism program is being reaccredited now, and it's a process that takes several months. They have comments and we reply to those and so forth. And I've been involved with accreditations for AAU for many, 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 many years. And it's a process that I'm quite used to, comfortable with. And in any case, though, journalism is going through reaccreditation now, and so is visual art studies.
Yes, it's also worth noting all programs for all schools in general do undergo the reaccreditation process. So this is just a normal thing, and we're just simply re-upping our accreditation.
It's usually every 6 or 10 years.
And also another thing to mention is that the only reason why it's taking longer than usual is that we are trying to adopt the new concentrations. So they need to review it more carefully than if we were only to submit the old program.
Yes, and with COVID, everything is slower in general these days. Yeah. So I hope that answered your question. If not, please feel free to ask another with more specific details. This says, can I get a job in the same country I'm studying in? While you're a student, you can absolutely get a part-time job. But additionally, if you do undergo nostrification, then when you graduate with your Czech degree, you are legally eligible to enter the Czech work market. You will still need a visa for residency, but you're able to get a job, and therefore everything else is a little bit easier. This question is, would it be possible to transfer college courses I took in high school to my time at AAU? I think by this you mean AP credits, and the answer is no. This is because though our American accreditation does understand AP credits, the European accreditation does not recognize AP credits, so we just don't accept them at all. If instead you mean that you took some community college courses in a dual enrollment capacity, then you can send us your transcripts for those and we can assess it to see if we have an equivalent. There's no guarantee that we'll have the equivalent course because we are a 3-year program rather than a 4-year program, but we can of course always look into it for you if you just email us your transcripts. The next question is, when is a good time to apply? Anytime is a good time to apply. We have rolling admissions. We do currently have students who are already registered for the fall 2021 semester. So if that's the one you're interested in, we do recommend going ahead and applying. The deadline for visa-seeking students to apply for the fall 2021 semester is May 15th, 2021. This says, is there a common place for students to eat, cafeteria, etc.? Yes, we do have a student cafe run by 2 very friendly Irishmen. They also do offer employment opportunities. The cafe has vegan options, vegetarian options, options for people with no dietary problems at all. It's something for everyone. It's also just a really cool space. We like to have meetings down there. So, you know, there might be clubs that meet, or right through the cafe, there is a student lounge where students just get together and hang out. So yeah, there's actually a number of common places on campus. Do you foresee students being able to attend live on campus in the fall? We do. At this point, we do not foresee needing to continue in an online capacity because now that we have the vaccine, fingers crossed, everyone gets it. But of course, the ultimate decision about whether or not people are allowed to join is up to the government rather than up to AAU. If the government does not have any bans on students coming live to classes, then we will be open. If the government decides to, again, close schools like this past semester, then we'll have to be online. As I said, however, we don't foresee that happening. This one is for either Tony or Elżbieta. Will the new concentrations be implemented by this spring or fall?
This spring to 21?
I'm assuming they mean 21, yes.
We're letting students take classes toward those concentrations just with the understanding that that we're still, of course, on the condition that it gets accreditation, will they be able to have that on their diploma? Otherwise, I think it's just a certificate that we could give them that would be separate from their diploma.
But it has the same, as I understand it, if they only get a certificate, it has the same legal value. It's just not officially accredited in the sense that we're doing the reaccreditation.
Okay, so soft answer, yes, by fall, it should be great. And we are still offering those courses. So even if maybe the individual concentration isn't officially available, there are still the courses that you can take and you can still learn about these things. So another one for you guys, what is the main difference between journalism and mass communication?
Mass communication encompasses it's the wider world, and then that wider world has gotten even deeper as this alternative universe within the internet social media sphere. That I think that's the ever expanding universe, and then journalism is the old-fashioned understanding of the New York Times, the fundamentals of the New York Times, Los Angeles Times, and then at the earliest that transition to broadcast media, which is when we talk about like the professionals that we have on staff teaching those fundamental skills. That's where we're coming from.
Okay, thank you, Tony.
Okay.
This one says, in Ukraine, there's an exam after school finishing, so I provide this exam or just a list of my grades. In Ukraine, I believe the final is an attestat. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe when you actually graduate, you get the attestat document that has the list of grades as well. So if you have not graduated yet, then we just need the list of grades. But if you have graduated, we'll need the full attestat officially translated into either English or Czech. So this one, how does the interview with the dean work?
We talk. It's a discussion. Also, not too much differently the way that I could continue just talking with Rebecca now, but specifically though, just talking about interests and exploring the knowledge that the applicant has in various areas of the study program that they want to do. I think it's also helpful the way I want to make sure that that they have thought or try to see how carefully they have thought about this as something to dedicate themselves to for the next 3 years, and then also for career opportunities afterwards. How serious are they about this? Let's say.
Yeah. I've said it before, but something that I think is an important way to distinguish ourselves is the fact that AAU as a university is more interested in the quality of person you are than your ability to, take the ACT and get a good score on it. We want people that are aware of why they've chosen us. We want people that are excited about the things that they want to pursue. We're not looking for students who test well and whose parents said, go be a businessman. So they said, okay, that sounds fine. We're interested in passionate people who really want to do something with their time in school. And so that is what the deans try to assess for, as people who fit that bill.
Thank you. I agree completely.
So this is a two-parter. It says, when do you anticipate the journalism reaccreditation finishing? And we're wondering about the accreditation due to visa other. So I feel I need to make it clear first and foremost, the journalism reaccreditation has nothing to do with the need for visa other. Journalism is just in its normal cycle of going through reaccreditation. They make programs get reaccredited to ensure that they're still teaching up to the level that the Accreditation Council originally accredited at, because otherwise people could just kind of, decide, whatever, we're going away. So our journalism program should be reaccredited in the next few months. We're not anticipating any problems. It's just a normal cycle. The need to get the visa other is due to the nostrification accreditation, which is a different issue entirely. Essentially what happens is if you are applying for school with us and you have not graduated high school yet, then you are not able to apply for nostrification, and therefore you can't be a full student on a student visa. You apply for visa other. Then the second you graduate, you apply for nostrification. We have a nostrification assistant here that will help you do it. She'll set you up for it. And then as soon as you get nostrified, you can apply for the student visa. You can come here on the other visa. You can be a student. It's legal. It's 100% fine. We have students who do it now. And it mostly is a way to ensure that you can still come for the start of classes if you haven't passed nostrification yet. If you do pass it, you'll get a student visa, no problem. If you're still waiting for it to go through, you just come on the other visa and it switches over once you get it. It seems really confusing and very bureaucratic, and unfortunately that bureaucracy is one of these sort of holdovers from communism era. There's just a lot of paperwork you have to go through, but it's very standard. We will help you. It's not something that you need to worry is in any way indicative of our school or the quality of education that you're getting.
Yeah, and just because they asked about journalism specifically, we would expect to get it, whether it's a month or a couple of months at the most. And then even if in a month or a couple of months, they still don't say, okay, you have a reaccreditation, and they would say, okay, well, we'll give you reaccreditation on the condition that you do this or that. We'll just do this or that, and and as Rebecca was saying, it's actually a very unusual, much Czech way of getting accreditation is almost Kafkaesque sometimes, because they can simply say, we just don't like this person and change this person, and we'll just change that person. And that has happened with other programs over the years, because you have these academics who are overseeing us from the Charles University and these different universities. Sometimes they have rivalries, and they just don't like certain people, and we have to maneuver ourselves within that type of academic Czech world. But we have this American school, predominantly Americans or Brits, or combination of Czechs and non-Czechs, and we have something that's different for them too, and they're trying to, on one hand, figure us out. A lot of times they end up copying us later anyways. So they appreciate what we do, what we do, but then also sometimes we're like too far ahead of where they're at, and they need to catch up to us.
Yes, that happens more frequently than you might think. Yeah. I hope that helps a little bit to assuage the nervousness about the Visa Other and the accreditations. It does sound very scary. We acknowledge that. And all I can do is reassure you over and over that the Visa Other is completely legal. It is a thing that is normal, and that the journalism accreditation is definitely going to go through soon. It's just all, unfortunately, sort of bad timing that this happened around COVID, because it means that everything is slower and a lot of offices just aren't always open. So this one says, is joining during the spring a good choice? I would say it's neither good nor bad. It's just an option that we offer to students who didn't come in the fall. We think having 2 intakes is important because, you know, maybe you want to take some time off after you graduate high school, or perhaps you simply are, you know, graduating a little bit later, or you just didn't have a choice before. So the spring or fall, they're the same. They both run for 3 years. You'll have a group that you come in with. The only slight, I would say, advantage that the fall semester might have is the fact that there are some courses that, you know, the first one's offered in the fall and the second one's offered in the spring. So if you come in the spring, then it's the second round. But since it would be your first semester, you still have to do those first semester core credits regardless. So I would say it's neutral. It's whichever one makes most sense for you. Any idea when the government will start allowing Visa Other again? If they don't start allowing those by fall, will you allow students to start online and hope they will open Visa Other so they can arrive in spring? Yes, we don't know. It's a COVID problem. We have no idea. If students cannot get visas, then we will have an online option, absolutely. The beauty of the online option is that it's one of those things that we can kind of wait and see. So as soon as we know a little bit better, I would say probably by mid-May, we'll make the final call. But until midway, we're just hoping that they start opening and start processing again. Will there be live classes during this spring intake? No, this current spring intake is in an online capacity, specifically because the COVID situation is still going. And it's just not entirely feasible to expect students to, like, you know, zoom in on an also live class. These will be online, and then we anticipate fall will start live classes. So that is the last question. We'll wait another 2 minutes, just till 4:10, to make sure that everyone has their last ones. This one.
Maybe I can add, I'm sorry, most likely the classes that have practical skills, painting and certain art studio classes, they were able to meet at in some capacity, limited capacity, in fall semester, while the rest of the classes couldn't. And we expect that to happen for spring semester as well.
Yes, that's an important caveat. Yes, there are some classes that you simply can't do online. And so we do our best to accommodate those, wearing a mask, social distanced as much as possible. This one says, thank you so much for your help. We really appreciate it. So yes, thank you, Tony and Elżbieta, so much. It has been a great time, and I hope that everyone got a lot of good information. This says, I'm curious to know how's the faculty in general, as in their relationship with students. I think it's one of the best that I've ever witnessed. I attended, you know, a large state school in America, and it was often, you know, 100 people in a class, and your professor might recognize your face, but he has no idea who you really are. That's not the case at AAU. The professors also eat in the student cafe. They're also on campus hanging out. They're happy to stop and talk to you. And interestingly, I was a master's MA student, and a lot of my professors have become just good friends that I genuinely enjoy. One of them, I remember we were in a Zoom call, and at the end of it, he played Bob Dylan songs on his guitar for any of the students that wanted to continue sort of hanging out with each other. He was actually one of Tony's students, not students, sorry, teachers. It was Andrew Giarelli. He's just a very friendly guy. A lot of them are like that. So I think it's a great relationship. And this says, that's so cool. Looking forward to being with you guys soon. Yes, we're looking forward to it as well. So on that note, I'll go ahead and wrap up. It's a very sunny day here, so let's all go take advantage of it. I know often in these situations, you will remember a question you had once it was over. Please email me if that's the case. You can use the general admissions@aauni.edu or my personal one, rebecca.newhouse@aauni.edu. Please email any extra questions you have. We are always happy to help. A big thank you to Tony and Elżbieta. We very much appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Goodbye.
Bye.